What is up, good people? What is up? I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you so much for checking out this video. It's your boy Big L, and thank you so much again. A lot of new subs and all that, so I appreciate it. So we're going to jump into it. So this video, as you can tell by the thumbnail there, is going to be about why men and women can't be friends. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to title this now. I want something that's going to be a gotcha, grab you kind of thing, but also, not try to do the bait and switch thing. So still a working title as I record this. All right, so obviously what I'm going to say here today is going to be on average, what I would say is the majority. Maybe not the average, but maybe the majority, between average and majority. Now, can you find some outliers to what I'm going to say? Absolutely. So I know a lot of hate watchers, and which I'm developing a lot of. Unless you're doing something right, right? Are going to say that, I'm friends with somebody. I've been friends with somebody for 20 years. Okay. All right. So, listen, and the perspective that I give is from a very, very male, masculine type of environment. I talk about my time in the police department as a reference because it was a very male-dominated place. And now I worked in other places. I talked about my time working in a hotel, and then I talked about my very, very short, brief stint at a college university. Um, so, but yeah, so it is a possibility. So that's just my perspective. And my time in the police department, was it was a male dominated space, and we had conversations that is not deemed for a polite company. It just was. And sometimes when we would be having a conversation, here's a little tidbit for you, right? So men are having a conversation, particularly in a work environment, and women walk into the room, the conversation changes. I mean, if you're a sensitive guy and they really enforce sexual harassment policies, the conversation changes. So I think a lot of times that ladies are not. Sometimes I've talked to ladies who are like, "Oh, this doesn't happen," and this, that, and the other. It does. It's happening. It's not happening around you, but it's happening. And you present an aura or whatever that lets men know that it's uncomfortable to talk to you about these things or talk in front of you about these things. It's the truth. Take it or leave it. I remember, and I talked about this before. I remember dealing with it was President Trump was running for office the first time, and he, the whole grab him by the pee kind of thing. And I remember watching a bunch of CNN people, and all these different ladies on CNN were particularly there's a lady, Hispanic lady, Ana Navarra. She was talking about that. I have nephews and this and that, and they said they never use that type of language. Now, I don't know if she was lying, or I don't know if her nephews were lying, but I can tell you somewhere in there was a lie, because it happens. I've been in male-dominant spaces for the vast majority of my life. I went to the YMCA. I was in the locker rooms with dudes. I was at the boys' club growing up, and I went to the boys' club until I was 18 years old. The boys' club year until I was 18 years old, and then once you turn 18, you couldn't go anymore. Only maybe Wednesdays or Thursdays or something like that. Maybe once or twice a week they would have like an open gym night for guys over 18 to go and play basketball. But so it's 17, 18-year-olds, we're having those conversations. The boy in the YMCA locker rooms. I mean, this is after I became a police officer. I'm going swimming, I'm working out, and whatever. We're having these conversations. So to Anna Navarro's point, and anybody else who's saying that these conversations don't happen, and guys are this and that, and they're really, really nice, and they're either unaware or they're just lying to you. They're either unaware or they're lying to you. And listen, I've been in other places. I've traveled. I've been to some places here in America. These conversations are happening. Now, I'm saying this to say that men and women are vastly different. We want to live in the world where we think that this is not the case, and I'm already answering the question as to whether men and women can be friends. I'm already answering the question. The first perspective is you got to understand that men and women are different. I know that we want to say we're not. I know we want to pretend that we're not. I know we want to. It's not the truth. It's not true. It's just not true. So to encapsulate this, yes, in some veins, men and women can be friends. Can be. The operative word in there is can. Now, and I'm answering a question that was posed to me, and I'll put up the screenshot. It was posed to me in the comment section about, why guys over 45 can't be friends. Now, I can answer that specifically, and I'm going to try to answer that. I'm going to try to answer that from a perspective of a guy 45 and older, why he doesn't want to be friends or friendly, or friends, I should say. And I'm going to also include that under that 45 and under, let's just say to 18, to this. Now, I think that if you're really an astute woman, some of this I've already talked about before in my video about stay out of the friend zone. So some of this I've already talked about. So the first thing I want to mention is I'm going to try to talk about all men, but if I make a differentiation between 45 and older and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing is that I mentioned is men and women are different. And when men are, and this is gonna hurt. And if I don't make fancy thumbnails, but if I made one, I would make an AI image of myself kicking a hornet's nest, because I'm definitely going to kick the hornet's nest, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers, and rattle some whatever's going to be rattled, and all that kind of stuff. So I recognize that. So here we go. Yes, men and women can be friends, but there's caveats, and there has to be thought processes and boundaries and all this type of stuff. And if you don't understand that, if I quote a guy, Neely Fuller Jr., who said, if you don't understand white supremacy, everything I'm going to say after this is just going to confuse you. So if you think that men and women are functionally the same and think the same, then everything else I'm just going to say is just going to confuse you. You're just going to be bewildered, befuddled, and confused about the words that I'm going to say and the position that I'm going to take. So yes, once again, men and women can be friends, and I'm saying the majority of times men want something different, want something more. And that more doesn't have to be romantic, as in lasting romantic relationships. It can just be 1 or 2 night stands, or we're just friends with benefits. That just is what it is. So you as a woman, when men are friends, there is either a spoken, or most of the time I would say it's an unspoken reciprocation of what's going to happen. So my friend as a woman, my friend as a man, gets into a car accident 2 o'clock in the morning, busts a tire, needs help moving furniture, help hanging a TV or something like that, or sheet rocking, or whatever we're doing as guys. There is a reciprocation that, hey, hold this, do this while I bang this and do that, and okay, I'll do this, and hey, listen, I crashed my car, come get me, whatever. As a woman, you want to be putting that same. If you want to be I'm talking about platonic friendship. That's what the screenshot said. They're asking me about platonic friendship, not friends with benefits, not friends going to someplace else, not friend zone, platonic friends. You, as a woman, generally don't offer anything to that. Now, I'm making a distinction between friends and friendly. We can be friendly. But friends, are you going to get out? And listen, you may get out of your bed at 2 o'clock in the morning because your friend is on the side of the road. You may do that. I'm not saying that that's an impossibility. Of course, right? Your friend got in, but generally, this is what men are looking for, and why they establish friends. Now, there's also something to be said, and I know people. Men in general over the age of, I think it's like 38 or 40 or so, let's just say 40, generally have trouble making new friends, right? It's troubling to text message. It's troubling to make new friends. because guys are not really socialized that way, and all that. And certainly we can do something about that to change that if it's really a socialization thing or it's a more intrinsic value of maleness. That debate is still out. I'm not going to tackle that right here. So when you as a man are entering into a platonic relationship, and you want a platonic relationship with a woman, there's a cost benefit analysis that the man is calculating in his head, and he's asking himself, what benefit is this friendship to me? Can you help me move? Can you help me hang my TV? Can you help me sheetrock? Can you help me work in my car? Can you do any of those things? Now, I think that there's a lot of times that ladies are looking for that type of relationship. They're looking for that type of relationship because they want male presence. Male presence typically encapsulates protection and provision. But protection and provision usually comes with something on the back end. And what are you providing that man for his protection and provision? So in the comments section of the Friend Zone one video that I did, I can remember reading some ladies who said, listen, if somebody, if I have certain friends, again, people are saying this, I have friends, and if they do something for me, I'll cook them a meal or whatever. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. That's fine. But I think you got to reciprocate something. And generally, that's something that the man is going to want is going to be sex. So this goes into something that Auntie Anita from Better Love Movement talked about, and and really struggles with, is that women have more to offer than this their sex or their bodies. So I think that from a man's perspective, you have to prove what that is. This is just the way it is. This may be unpopular. This may be, but what is it that you're offering? Now, you're going to cook me a meal every single time that I help me move furniture or whatever, or listen, if that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. So men and women just think differently, and men are cost benefit analysis people. We're not looking for a lot of times we're not looking for friends. We're not looking for that. We're looking for someone who can help me to do whatever. And that is something that I think that has really been lost, and really helps and really inhibits the way that we move forward. And I think that a lot of times men are definitely socialized to be protective of women. So let's just say the three guys are out at the bar, now that you got a new friend, a new platonic friend who's completely female, and she wants to be one of the guys and all this kind of stuff. So if you're out at the bar, there's going to be a mental I don't know what the word I want to use, mental stimulus, mental idea in the back, that's always in the back of their mind, that I got to protect this woman. So if we get into a fight, or we're leaving the bar, we're going to go to our cars, I got to walk you this, right? That's what I think that women want. I think you want to be able to go out in the male presence and rest in femininity, rest in knowing that I can defend, somebody else is here to defend myself, walking through parking lots, whatever. I think that you want that. And I'm not saying it's wrong to want that, but what did the man get for that? Why should I, if it's me and my boy, or me and two other boys, we're all sitting there, right? I know if something jumps off with this dude, with these three dudes over there, it's a 3-on-3 battle. We can go in there and we'll handle business. Win, lose, whatever. We'll have a good story, whatever. But now if it's three dudes, if it's three of us, and now you're here 4 against 4 dudes, I mean, you can hold your own the best you can, but my mind now is on, I got to protect you and fight this and make sure my boys are good. It becomes a liability. You become a liability. Sometimes, I would meet ladies, right, and they would be like, oh, this, you're having a conversation with a lady, and they would just be like, I'm cold. I got a text message one time when this lady like just out the blue, I'm cold, I'm at work, I'm cold. That's another, I'm being honest with you. This is another liability, and this is things you won't hear in sexual harassment training class because men have been shot down. You just can't say the truth and just can't say the quiet part out loud. This is the truth. This is the truth. It's we don't want to hear that you're cold. We got to be protected. We got to we got to adjust. Goes back to exactly what I was saying in the beginning. We got to adjust ourselves when a woman is in our presence. The heat, the way we speak, our protection mindset is kicking in. So you asking a man who's 45 years old and older why he doesn't want to just hang out with you at the bar? Why he doesn't want to invite you to his house? Maybe he's having every Saturday or Saturday and Sunday he's watching football and he has a bunch of wings and his boys come over. You want to know why you just can't come? What are you offering? Besides coming there and yes, you can come there and bring food or whatever. But we're socialized differently. And I know you want us to be socialized a different way. And unless you're willing to go to a certain level of flirtation, I'm going to ask you what you bring to that environment besides food. I think a lot of I'm basing this off of a lot of conversations I have with a lot of men. A lot of times men don't find women, this is true, to be funny. We're not entertained by you. This is definitely going to be red pill content, right? So if you've watched other red pill content, you've been turned off by that. And that's why I say a lot of the red pill content isn't all trash. It isn't. It isn't. A lot of times men don't find women to be entertaining. They don't find them to be funny. We have to entertain you. We have to adjust ourselves in your presence. We can't talk the same. We got to change the temperature. Sometimes, my daughter doesn't live with me, but sometimes she comes over to the house. She's like, "Oh man, it's cold in here. Oh Lord, now I got to go turn the heat up." Right? And that's when of course I'm her father, but that's the environment. That's the way that it is. Now, are there men and women who are friends and friend? And I'm making a distinction between friends and friendly. Let me make that distinction. Friends is exactly what I'm talking about. The platonic friendship where you help each other out from time to time. You hang out with each other maybe a couple times a week. Call each other up on the phone. Call each other up on the phone or have video chats, whatever you're doing, and just kind of shoot the breeze or whatever, and just have a conversation and tell each other about your day and what's going on. And that. Now, that distinction is probably okay. It's probably okay. But I'm talking about when you're in somebody's presence all the time, a couple times a week, you just want to hang out and just be friends and this, that, and the other. I think truly, particularly for single women, you're looking for male validation, male leadership, male presence, male protection. You're looking for all that. But what does a man get in return for that? And unless you're going to give him something, you become a liability and not an asset to him. Now that could be okay. Every time I see this dude, I got to bring him a plate of food. It could be that, but I think we're all adults here. And I think that we know generally what men want. And just because he's your friend doesn't mean he doesn't want that. And I've had this conversation with young women. I've had this conversation with older women, and it just seems to be baffling that this is an idea. So I've asked, and I'm asking you to do the same experiment that I've asked everyone else to do, is just try it. And every single time I've told women to do this experiment, run your hand across his lap and just let them know it's a good to go time, and just call them up. And you can watch these experiments on YouTube and Facebook, and I've run them, not that I've run them, but I had other people run them and all that kind of stuff. Never, without fail, the men will give in to the sexual urges that they're feeling. Men will keep you around. Men will keep you around. But don't think that you're as valuable. Don't think that you're one of the guys. Now there's a lot more ladies now today doing a lot more stuff. They're rock climbing. They're riding their own motorcycles. Where 50 years ago they would get on the back. Now they're got their own motorcycles and they're doing so they're doing a lot more. So they think that makes them one of the guys, and they think that they can operate and move that way. You're not. You're not. Give him the okay. Give him the signal. Say a few words to him. And let him know that you're good to go, and you've been thinking about this for a while, and let's get this done. I was watching a video. It was a good podcast, and I've watched a few of these about the same kind of subject where women who are on some type of hormone replacement therapy and therefore were having their testosterone increase, not certainly not to the level of a man. I can't remember what I was watching this on, but it was very, very enlightening. And this woman said that she was on this hormone replacement therapy, and she was with a good friend, platonic friend. She said she was at his house, and she's on this therapy, and her hormone is up, and she was just horny as I don't know what, and she just whipped out a condom and said, "Put it on, let's go." That's enlightening. That's enlightening for a number of reasons. Number one, because it shows that her libido was up. Number one, because of the hormone replacement therapy. Number two, it shows that she didn't care about foreplay. Right? She's just like, "Oh, put this on, and let's this," and she basically, her friend was resistant to doing it. It's gonna mess us up. This, that. She's like, "I don't care." She was out of, and she admits that she was out of her head because of his hormones, and so she had to look at men and say, in a different light, and say, "Man, this is what men are like all the time." And of course, men have been trained to hold. Men have been trained since the time they were 12, 13 to hold that under control. Because if you don't hold it under control and you go whip out your little thing, you do this and do that, that you will be arrested and can spend the rest of your life in prison. So we have been, but she, as a woman, didn't have that mental restraint on her. It was a very, very enlightening video because she didn't have that mental restraint on her. So she didn't know it. So she's just like, "Hey, throw the gun condom. Let's go. Come on. This is her friend." There's another lady, Rebecca Lynn Pope, said the same thing. She's like, "Listen, she was dealing with some kind of whatever she was dealing with, and she told a story about one time that she was on some type of hormone replacement therapy, and her testosterone was up, and she was like, she was killing her husband. Listen, I need this. Come on, and demand it. Come on, let's do it. Come on." So my point in saying that's those stories about that is that you don't, men and women in particular don't understand the hormonal response that a lot of men are dealing with on a daily basis, and how they have to actively repress that so they don't be labeled a creep or weird or predator or whatever. Actively. So you think that it's, oh man, you're at work and you think that this guy is really this, that, and the other, and he's a nice guy and this, that. But he's actively suppressing what he, and those are the guys who are successful at. Some people are just not successful at. They're just like, they just say little wrong things, or that's what lands them in HR office. So you're thinking this way, so you don't really understand it until it's in that situation. So you think that you're one of the guys because he is actively suppressing his drive to do whatever, and you're not. That's why if you give him the green light, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 he'll do it. And I just told a story. This is one story. It's an anecdotal story. It's nowhere scientifically based. But a woman is like, I don't care. She's out of her head. She's out of her head. She's out of her head because of the hormonal replacements and because she had not been used to repressing that particular drive. I'm not saying that she was just out of her head as a woman because or whatever. I'm trying to make that distinction. So the reasons that a guy who's over 45 years old, in particular, is very reluctant to have you as a platonic friend is because you don't offer him anything. It's no secret that I've talked about, extensively traveling, and people have hit me up, "Hey, listen, can I go with you?" Why? Why? Why would you? I don't understand why you even offer. I don't even understand. And platonic, listen, he's like, I've had ladies say, friends, people I worked with. Watch the podcast. listen, I'd like to go, and I know it's platonic. I definitely, I'm saying, I know the difference. That's you know, sleep in different rooms and this, and you know, I just want to go because they want to go with a guy. They want to travel with a man. But what do I get? Think about this. What do I get from escorting you to where I'm going, to where I'm going to be at? Because now my mind is protecting you. My mind is making sure that you're okay, making sure you don't drink too much, making sure. What do I get for that? What, not just me, but what does any man get for that? Now, I know that this is going to be blasted. I know that this is going to be taken generally out of context and all that. But it's the absolute truth. Now, am I saying that under every single? I've made this clear before. I'll make it clear again. I'm not talking about all the time and every single. Of course, there are men who would be glad to be friendly, and or friends, of course. And I'm sure that if you did the experiment and let him know if it's okay and just see what his reaction would be, that he probably wouldn't fall for it. Of course, it's not 100%. I guarantee it's above 70% though. 70% of the time, absolutely, absolutely. And if you do, let me say, if you do run that experiment, just see what your friends would say, and how can you be friends with that person any longer? Because you know that he has sexual interest with you. You know that now. If you didn't know before, you were in this la la land of whatever, and now you perform this experiment and said, oh, let me just see what would happen if I gave him the green light. How would he react? And he reacts the way that I predicted he would react, your friend, your platonic friend, and he reacts that way. How can you continue? If you continue to be friends with him, I don't think that you're his friend. I don't think you're his friend, because now you know he has more interest in you than what you thought. And so therefore you're just using him for his protection, his counsel. And that's fine if he desires to be used that way. And if he wants to stay in that, now he's in a friend zone, because now he knows what it is. So I've done a video about the friend zone, but this is a distinction between the friend zone and friendly. So friendly, I am very friendly with a lot of ladies, a lot of women. Friendly, yeah. Call me up from time to time, text me, whatever's whatever. You know, try to get my advice. I was talking to a guy, this, that, and the other. You know, what do you think about this? You know, what's going on with that? Yeah, I do it all the time. I'm friendly with people, yeah. But I'm not hanging out at their house. I'm not going over there for tea and biscuits and just, you know, shoot the breeze. I'm not doing that. I've given all the caveats. Some people doing it yet. Now to the 44 and under, and I would say even really like 30 and under, maybe 33 and under or so. There's a testosterone difference. There is a testosterone difference between the younger generation in comparison to the men of the 1950s, and so that drive isn't there. So you may run into guys who are just like, oh yeah, we can all play video games together. We can all play whatever they're doing, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever they're doing. You know, we'll all go ski-boarding together. We'll all go hiking together. Maybe they're not thinking that way. It could be a lower testosterone deficiency. I would still say that they should run the experiment and just see that the ladies should still run that experiment. And listen, there are definitely ladies out there who like to do more quote-unquote masculine things, hiking and you know, bike riding and fixing cars and whatever. You know, I don't have any smoke for that. You do you. Be the best version of yourself. Love what you love, and you know, forget what everybody else says. But when it comes to men and women relationships and that dynamic, yeah, it's different. So just to make sure I wasn't crazy, I actually Googled it, right? So I'm going to put up a screenshot of AI, and I had all these thoughts, the same thoughts that I had. There's differentiations, there's boundaries that have to be set, there's conversations that have to be had, and and the reason that I'm saying all that I said, and the reason that the screenshot is saying all that it said, is because there is a difference. There is a difference between two men being friends friends and a man and a woman being friends. There's a difference between two ladies being friends, and you know it. And we know it, and we want to pretend. We want to pretend like this is not true. It's not the case, and this and that, and all this kind of crazy nonsense. And listen, I'm just asking you. My point in making these videos is to make you aware of the situation. What you choose to do with your life is your life. If you want to enter into you want a friend, a male friend who's platonic, and you just want to use him, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, for your benefit as far as protection, and you don't want to, really think that you really need to offer anything else. I've already told you that most men don't think that you're funny, so you're not entertaining me. You're not what are you bringing to me, right? And if every time, again, to the comment section of the friend zone video, I didn't screenshot it, but it's there somewhere, unless they deleted it. Somebody was saying that, listen, if I do something for a guy, right, I bring him a plate of food or whatever, right? When does this become girlfriend stuff? Right? I mean, so you're gonna I don't know how often they're doing whatever. I'm just trying to give you the lowdown on what the real scoop is when the doors are closed and when nobody's around. When the doors are closed, there's nobody around, and there's talking, and you think that you're really this guy's buddy, platonically. And I listen. I talk to my kids. I talk to my kids' friends, and I talk about this, right? And I start digging into it. Yeah, okay, because they believe this nonsense. They believe this feminized nonsense. That men and women can be this, that, and the other. And I start digging into them, start really, really probing them about this and that. Oh yeah, well, yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, I know that. We want to pretend like 250,000 years of humanities can be obliterated with 40 years of feminist nonsense. We don't want to believe that. It's nuts. Men and women have been socialized, not only socialized, but I also believe that it's innate and hardwired in the DNA of men and women to be vastly different, to think differently, and all this. So we want to combat that and say that these things aren't true. That we can be socialized a different way. And then when these experiments are run, people say different things, and you can see them all over. And I've had people run them that I know of personally who run these experiments who said that. They're always shocked. Oh man, I really didn't know that. Now I'm shocked that they're shocked. I'm shocked that you're shocked that this is going on. So in theory, let me wrap this up here. In theory, yes, men and women can be friends. Is it practical? Is it likely? Is it probable that there's not some other ulterior motive by the man? I would guarantee it's above 85%. And I also think that there's an ulterior motive by the ladies. They want protection. They want a male presence. They want that. And I always love the conversation. I'm a real guy type of girl, right? I've always had more friends. I've always had more male friends than those male friends wanted to bang you. Understand that. And I think a lot of times they do. I think that they do. I think that they try to play stupid. Those male friends want to sleep with you. And I think you should know that. And I think you're just taking advantage of and trying to keep them on a short leash because you want their protection, benefits, and all that. But again, and this is a question that I think a lot of ladies struggle to answer. What benefits do you provide outside of your body? And I'm not saying that there is no benefits. I'm asking you a legitimate question, what that is. I want you to tell me what that is. And let me make the question a little bit more plain. What benefits does a male platonic partner, male platonic friend, platonic, want that you provide? So I think I've laid the case. Sorry if I burst your bubbles. Some of you might have been confirmation. Some of you may have been confused. Some of you may not believe me. I know somebody's going to say, "Oh, listen, what you're saying is not true. I've had friends for 20 years." I said there'd be outliers. I said that. I said that, and I know that my male friend would never ever try to sleep with me. Well, how do you know that? Have you ever tried? How do you know that? Listen, men will wait. Men will wait. Men are waiting. I guarantee you that if we could get a good number of platonic friends, let's just say that some experimenter did 1,000 platonic friends and 1,000 male between men and women, and they ran an experiment and just to see how many times, if provoked by the lady, instigated by the lady, that they would be friends. Or more than friends. Would they go for it? I guarantee you it would be above 750, 800, which is 75, 80%. Guarantee it that that the guys would go for it. And to be more specific to the question I was asked in the screenshot, what do you offer a 45-year-old man? Again, this lady asked me, a couple ladies that I were friends with, and definitely in a platonic sense. Hey, listen, I'd like to go. I got some vacation time. Let me know when you're going. I'll go with you. For what? So I could watch you at the club. I could watch you at the bar. So I could watch. I gotta be protective of you. I gotta carry your bags, the big heavy bag that you overpacked for to get on the plane. I gotta do all that. 45-year-old guys know better. 45-plus-year-old guys know better. They've been through that. I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. Whenever my daughter and I, every time my daughter and I, she wants to go on sometimes she likes to come, I do travel in different places. Who's carrying her bag? It's my daughter. I got to carry her bag. Well, I'm like, why'd you pack all this? We're just going for a weekend. What are you doing? I'm going to do it for a platonic friend. For a platonic friend. Weird. All right. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Am I right about this? Am I wrong about this? What's up? What say you? What do you think? Much love and peace.